Welcome back to the Tennessee Frugal Craftsman. It's a Thursday, July 28th. I am in the process of building a greenhouse, doing a side job, so I just wanted to bring you along on this process of how to build. This is a 10 by 10 greenhouse. Alright, so the very first thing that I did yesterday, I come in and I dug 4 holes. And I set 10-foot posts. Now they're a couple feet down on the ground. They're roughly 8 feet up out. So I'm gonna cut this down to about 7 feet finished ceiling height. And after I got the posts in, I squared everything. You can see I'm anchored here off of the fence. I'm going to take those anchors down here in a bit. But I anchored everything. Did diagonals across each way to get the building square, and I'm just getting ready now to put the bottom rails on and the mid rails, and then I'll cut everything off at the top. But the first thing that you need to do is get your posts in, get them squared, get everything ready to go. And so I will come back and pick this video up as I'm on the next step. Okay, the next step after I got the posts set is to level the base. And what I've done here is I've done 4 of the 4x4s. I started with the high spot, so we're going to be putting in pea gravel inside of this. So I wanted my siding a little bit up off the ground, so I'm about 1 inch off the ground there. And it goes down to about 3 or 4 inches here, and the low spot is over there, which is about 6 or 7 inches. So that's going to have to be graded up. But once you get that level, then you can build off of that. So my next step is going to be put the mid sections in. That's the cross pieces here for where the bottom solid siding is going to be. So I'll be back in a minute and show you what that looks like. Okay, on the next step I've put the 2 door posts in, and I've put the rail around. The rail is set at 32 inches from the bottom up into underneath of that second rail. So 32 inches from there down to the bottom of that. I'll show you what it looks like here in a minute when I get it all put together. But that rail is now complete. What you need to do if you are not attaching the top first, now I've got these all attached, but those are temporary. I'm using these cables just to keep everything tight so it doesn't spread out as you go up. So this keeps everything in tension, so you're keeping your corner post square, because if not, when you start pushing those in, you can actually push those outside posts out, and so it'll go beyond 10 feet. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're at the next step. As you can see, I've already put some of my ranch wall or my outside siding on, or the masonite siding. So I'll show you it in process. There you have I'm cutting these 32 inches so I can get 3 pieces out of a sheet, and I'm putting the studs. I put a top, come in here and show you. This is a top plate right here, and I've screwed it up to the bottom of that 4x4 right there. And then I just set these studs in here. They're about 26 3/4 of an inch or so. These studs here, and screwed them to that. Now, you remember when I set that bottom rail 4x4, I actually kept it in 1/2 inch. That's allowing me, come back over here, it's allowing me to have a little bit of a reveal when I nail this, so I can seal along there with the caulking. I'm caulking everything because they're going to paint it. So here's the finished one. You can come in there and see what you've got. Got a little bit of a reveal, about 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch up here as well. And then I seal the joints. So that's the next step. Like I said, that gives me about a 36-inch solid wall. That's where the workbenches and stuff are going to be on the inside, so you don't need to see those, and so everything above is going to be clear. So that's the next step. Okay, it's the next day. I finished this up on Thursday. Got rained out on Friday, and so the process that I've been going over, as you can see, we talked about putting the exterior siding on. I did around the door, at least the base, so we've got that done. I sealed everything, as I've noted, sealed everything with caulking. And you come around here, you can kind of see the inside. I used a method whereby I didn't have, I kept the waste, so anything that was left over from this piece, I started here. So you just have to adjust the centering of your studding along here to make sure it falls on the right place when you're putting your next piece on. So that is the inside edge, as you can see. This is what it looks like. So we're getting that feel of a room. And the reason that we put this solid down here is because there's going to be benches across here and there's going to be storage, and so they didn't want to be seeing that from the outside. Next step I did this morning. Come around here. You can see I cut off everything level, all the posts. They're about 51 7/8 of an inch in between here. Then what I did is I 45'd those 4x4x10. You can see, I'll just come in here, trip fall here. That way you have support on each post, or each of your main horizontal runs are resting on these vertical posts. So that takes a little bit of time because you got to 45 them, so you can kind of see it there. So my next step is going to be framing the rafters, so I'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, so I changed my mind on that next step. I went ahead and put in all of the kind of the window uprights. So there were a total of 6 that went in here. So these are spaced at 35 and 5/16 each. There's going to be another intermediate horizontal piece going across here, so they're going to be transom windows up here, and it's just going to be the middle ones that are going to be venting, so everything else is going to be fixed. Originally I thought about having these all opening, but it's just, the cost would have been way too much, so now we've got it set up. So we've got everything ready for those horizontals and the roof. You get the framing done hopefully today, start putting some windows in it. So there is what it looks like. I'll be back. Okay, I now have the 3 main rafters done. You can see here, I made them so they're coming right down flush to this edge. So the overhang, the plastic will overhang 2 or 3 inches. It's got a 12-inch height here. That's because I want to be able to get, I have 2 foot by 4 foot, and I can get 2 pieces of plexiglass out of 1 piece, so I can use that on each end. Now the one in the middle, as you can see, I have anchored the 4x4 brackets, done the same thing here, bracketed both sides, attached there. And so my next step is to put the supports running between them here to catch the perpendicular parts of the construction, to actually catch and screw down the roofing. So I'll be back with that. Okay, a couple days have passed. Come around here. We got rained out yesterday for part of the day. The last video I showed you, I was getting ready to put the perpendicular runs in, As you can see here, I've put those in. I'm going to go up onto the roof line and show you kind of what we did. Show you the process here. As you can see, I've got the roofing down now. Now once I put those perpendicular pieces in, I put those in at about 17" on center, and I was just kind of spacing them up across here, because this last one I had to put down about 8 inches from the peak here in order to catch this ridge cap that I was using. So whatever size your ridge cap is, you want it so that it will come down and you can screw the edge of the ridge cap. You got to have something to screw to. So I didn't put anything up here. I just ran the roofing, the flex roofing, up to here on each side, and then I put this ridge cap on. It's basically the same as any other type of ridge cap that you're putting on. One other thing that you got to note when you're doing this is on the very starter piece down here, because that's 4x4 square. In order to get this filler to actually fit properly, you have to put a wedge in there. So this was a 15-degree angled roof, so I just took a piece of pressure treated 2x4, cut it on an angle, 15-degree angle, stapled it down, and then screwed down everything. And so this is giving you a nice smooth finish here. I screwed every other rib, as you can see, clear across it. I'll just come around here and I'll give you some angles down below. A couple other things I want to point out. All I did in anchoring these, I just used some 2-inch screws, put a couple each side. Now you can put if you want, sorry, come up here so you can see, if you want to over there, you can put a brackets on those corner brackets to hold it. There's not a lot of tension on that. The other thing I did is I allowed my roofing to run long. I don't know if you can see it here in the sun. I had it out here almost probably 9 inches. I snapped lines across and allowed 3-inch overhang. So just trimmed those off so I can get a nice straight edge. And here, 5 sheets of this works out almost perfectly to have about a 1/2 inch overlap here. And on this side it was about 3/4 or so I didn't trim it. You can see there as well. So I've got all the ridge cap on now and the roofing. So that is the process. Now you do need to have those corrugated pieces, filler strips, if you are going to try to get this sealed, so bugs, bees and stuff won't get up in there very easily now that that's got that filler strip in. And it also gives a little nicer finish and holds your roofing a little more secure. That comes, I think, in 6-foot runs, so you just get whatever, the number of runs and multiply it. Now, one of the other things that I've been doing since yesterday, or since the other day, got rained out. I come out late yesterday afternoon and I started putting in these windows. These are actual plexiglass windows. You can hardly tell there's anything in there. This is actually plexiglass. All I did is I ripped pressure treated 2x4 at 3/4 of an inch, set them in about 1/4 of an inch, reveal. Did the inside. I actually glued those inside ones on the inside of the greenhouse. I put subfloor adhesive, so any of the water hits this, runs down, will come out here, won't run back inside. And I'm not overly concerned. Like I said, this is just a greenhouse anyway, so it's more for just keeping the hot air in. And then I did these 2 sections up here. I've got to do these 2 smaller ones yet, so that's my next procedure. Now I will get one all cut out here and I'll run the video to show you exactly how easy they are to put in. But that is the next step, is to get all of those 3-foot pieces in to do the tops of the windows like I did here, to separate the transom window from the actual solid fixed window. So I've got to do those and put the windows in. The doorway is all framed. What I did is I got a screen door from Lowe's, about $65. Took the screen out of it, and I'm going to put that piece of plexiglass screw it to the back of it, so that will become like a sealed door as well, but one that'll let light in. And so I'll do this, continue the video when I get ready to set the next window. Okay, we're gonna put one of these together. Got it ready to go. Making sure you got a good bond. Spacer. plexiglass, plastic off of it. All right. Like 9 minutes or so, if you get everything cut. As you can see there, I'm just putting 4 screws along here, so if they ever need to replace this, they take the outside off, because the inside one in there is glued, as you saw me do. And there is another window in. Sit back from it. Alright, talk to you later. Okay, it's an hour or so later. I have completed the 2 transom windows up here. So this end is done with the exception of the doorway. They're painting the door right now so I can put the plexiglass on it. But I have gone around and put all of the 3-foot dividers in. So easy way to do that is just cut a couple short supports, just tack them to these 2 posts and then set the post down on it, and you can go right along and have everything set at the same height. You don't have to measure it. And so that is now complete on the 3 walls. And so I am now ready to start putting the 3-foot windows in. Okay, let's do one of the larger windows. Okay, we're coming up on the last day now, and I am at the point of putting in some workbenches in here, but I'll show you kind of what we've done. First thing I want to talk about, I think the last thing I had done is shown you how to put in some of these upper windows and whatnot. Well, this now, I have 3 venting transom windows, and of course the main door, so I'll show you those. Now this is a design, I got a picture online and made this mechanism. So I'll show you how this works. So what you do is when you push up on this, it closes the window. So I'll just step back here a bit so you can see it closed. Kind of come sideways here, and I'll explain what I have here. Now the first thing that you have is a 6-inch piece. I just kind of decorated it up a bit by putting some angles on it. I dropped down 2 inches from the top of the window and attached that with a couple screws, one on top, one on the bottom. Then I drilled a hole through at about 5/8 of an inch from the end, centered, drilled it and put a 2-inch bolt in. Now you could get, if you can get the longer ones, you don't have to recess this. I actually recessed it a 1/2 inch. If you can get 3-inch, that'll work good, it'll work well. Then what I did is I put the nut and washer to kind of hold it onto this, and then I used an eyelet, and I'll show you again here what this is. These are little eyelets. They just screw in, screw eyelets, and then I screwed one in here and one in here. So that's about a 14-inch piece of doweling right there. And then what I did is I attached that over that 1/4-inch bolt. Those eyelets will actually go right over the 1/4-inch bolt, and then put another bolt and washer on it, or nut and washer. Nut and washer, these are non-locking. Now I measured down, this was about 16 or 15.5 inches down, drilled and put an eyelet right into this wooden dowel, and then I just attached this with a 3/4 inch. So I've got the bolt, washer, the 2 eyelets, washer, lock nut. And then this is all attached to this roughly 41-inch dowel, and it's set in these larger eyelets, which are screwed into the posts. 1, 2, 3. And so when it's all the way up, to lock it, I just put the deadbolt across and it can't come down. So that is basically how that transom works. And of course this is just a really light handle, and I just screwed that into the dowel as well. That's about a 5/8 of an inch dowel, and I did 3 of them like that. As you can see, this is what it looks like open, and they actually work quite nicely. Now the other thing that I did, put a threshold on here to protect the edge of the plywood, and then I took my plexiglass. I got a 4x8 sheet of plexiglass and cut it down, and I took out the screen out of a screen door I got at Lowe's, and just let this hang over about 1.5 inch and 5/8 all the way around. Drilled this with drill and put stainless steel screws in it at every 4 inches. And so this now becomes the clear part of the door to let air in. You can kind of see what this looks like. I see my battery is about to go. And it locks, so I'll step back so you can kind of see what that looks like. So now it's completely watertight, and of course from the outside the transoms, that's what they look like, the opening ones. So I got a venting one on all 4 sides, and it seems to work quite nicely. So I'll come back and do a wrap up in a little bit. Alright, we're going to do a final walkthrough here now that we're done. It's later in the day. Come back here. I put benches in at 3 feet. They're braced back down to the wall. They're just 2x4, pressure treated 2x4 on 2-foot centers, holding it up. Just come around here Got a nice little stand in here for working as well. Everything is functioning. Yeah, I guess I need two hands. Anyway, this is the greenhouse. I'll step back and take a video a little further away from it. Still got a couple pieces of plywood we need to move, but this is what it looks like. I'll just do a walk around. I'll try to give you a rough approximation of the costs. It's 10 by 10, as you can see. Alright, so transom windows are working excellently, especially when it's hot. Keep the door open, they'll blow right through, keep the air, but it is warm in that greenhouse. Alright, until next time, my next plan is to start my foundation walls. I got the footing in last week, so I'm going to start doing the foundation walls hopefully the end of this week. So I'll do another video shortly. Until then, thanks for joining, and if you would, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.